Hi, it's Todd of Todd's Workshop and Todd Cutler here, and today we're back for a film about bouncing arrows. These things. I only came across them a few days ago and they are just fabulous. So I'm going to shoot one now just on my newly flooded field here, just on the water's edge. We'll have a look at it and we'll come back, we'll talk about it, and then we will test them for real and really see what these things do, because they are seriously interesting. Down on the range now for our first shots. Let's just send them over there, see what they do really. Do I have to squat right down and shoot them low? Can I do it standing? Let's have a look. Well, that was okay. That was shooting low down. I'm going to try one standing up now. Let's see how we go. Oh. So that did about 50-60 metres and it probably impacted at about the 30-metre mark. So let's give that a go again. Right, just going to shoot our last one now. And I just love these bouncing arrows. I've never seen anything like them. Oh. Just missed my GoPro out there. Good stuff. Right, let's go collect. We'll go back to base and have a quick chat about them. I just loved what I saw there. I didn't think for a moment it was going to work as well as it did. I saw them a couple of days ago on a fantastic channel called Ugly Archer. I'll put a link in the notes. So thank you for that. Now, I've been involved with bouncing munitions across water before, so I'm just going to show you this little clip here from a documentary I was involved in years ago, where I made the air gun and the bomb and the deployment system for a scale model of Barnes Wallace's bouncing bomb from the Second World War. Now that bounces, but it bounces in a completely different way to these arrows, because what it's doing is it's spinning the bomb in a backwards motion to its direction of travel. That allows it to skip, very successfully obviously. When you skim a stone, it's spinning it in a different orientation, that way round, spinning it in a different orientation, and again it bounces. Brilliant. Not the mechanism here. These ones, they hit the water, and effectively, because the water's quite hard at speed in essence, they bounce off. But not this first one, not that one. That one ploughed straight in. Not that dissimilar a shape to the others, but different enough it didn't even think about working. Now that's the thing about looking at what native peoples do. So these were used in northern Scandinavia, Arctic Circle I guess, going through Siberia, and I think through into the sort of Asia. Not really sure, and I don't think that many people know really. But it's all to do with the head shape. So the next one I used here was much blunter and much more like a modern torpedo nose, so it doesn't plough in so much. And it worked, but not brilliantly. So I went back to really study, rather than just out of my head, really study the shape of the native people's ones. And it's this one here, it's really particular. It comes to maybe about third distance, then a little ridge, and then it comes back. Fairly steep, definitely not in that sense streamlined like you might consider this one. And it just worked brilliantly. Straight off, just a little rough turning, wham, out there, maybe 8 bounces or something. So I came back, I made nicer ones with a bone forked head, and that's where we ended up. Now then, we're going to go duck hunting, because that's what these are really for, wildfowl on water. And that's what's really interesting about the difference between these two. This one here has a singular point. So if your birds, for instance, are near the edge of reeds or something like that, this one hits the water, bounces beautifully, does all that, bounce, 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 into the reed bed, thump, gone. The forked one comes along, hits the water, bounce, 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 hits the duck, brilliant, misses the duck, hits the reed bed, stops because it binds up on the reeds. And that way you can find your arrow again because it's right on the edge of the reed bed. It's not buried 20 metres, 10 metres, 5 metres, somewhere in the undergrowth over there. Absolutely perfect solution to the problem of what happens when you're shooting birds close to the edge. Now the thing that we have not talked about yet is, why do we want a bouncing arrow when we're shooting birds on water? Let's go duck hunting and we'll have a look and we'll find out. Just knocking up for my first shot here on a beautiful little Italian medieval style bow by Chris Boynton, who is very unfortunately no longer with us, but I just love this. It's beautiful. About 60 pounds, bit under maybe. Our ducks are about 40 metres. Here we go. Did I get one? I don't know. Let's find out. skipped over their heads. Right. There's a big group of them on the right-hand side. I'm going to go for those. Oh, ho, ho! Got one. Oh. They work. Right, I'm going to reset. We'll go again because it's fun. Hell, why not? Well, rubber ducks are a hard prey, it appears. So a couple of these are broken, but they'll still work well enough for the demo. Oh. Now my shot was accurate enough actually, but it hit the water and bounced off to one side, whether it's because of the breakage or whatever, I don't know. But that's probably going to be fairly indicative that they're not super accurate, because as soon as they interact with something else, it all goes to pot. Oh. And that one skidded mightily off to the left actually. It was not a bad shot, but it hit the water and it turned into a bad shot. Oh. One duck. But you know, that's interesting because that explains a lot about why we want the bouncing arrows. But we're going to come back to that. Going to go again for our poor innocent ducklings. Interesting. I think that my distance is just a little bit too great here. Maybe 25 meters it's hitting, and the angle of incidence is too much, and they're ploughing in. I'm going to go for another and see if it's doing the same thing. Nope, I'm completely talking gibberish. It bounced beautifully. Don't know, maybe it's just chance. Maybe they just don't work every time, and I've been lucky up to now. Yeah, again, bounced beautifully, missed the ducks. Let's run again. Ah, it just bounced over. Oh, another one. Just over, just like that much over, that much over. Yes, no, no. Ploughed into the ground just before it. Oh, lovely. Lovely, lovely. Oh, just between them. Oh my goodness me. What have I learned about bouncing arrows today? Well, quite a lot. And the first is, absolutely, they are fun. They are great fun. I couldn't leave those little rubber ducks alone, even though, as you can tell, they are pretty hard targets for these bone tips. And I've trashed every single one of these. But at the end, I'm going to put up a drawing, given the dimensions, so you can go and make your own based on these ones here, if that's what you want. That's the first thing. Second thing, really interesting, is at the beginning, I stood and I shot just as I regularly would. And they worked beautifully. And after about 45 minutes of filming, they just started diving into the water. And I don't know if they soaked up water and they changed the mass distribution or something, but something went wrong. And now you can rectify that actually by getting very low to the water. So when they're dry, brand new, out of your hut, your workshop, whatever, the angle of incidence can actually be relatively steep and they bounce. But as they get wetter, for whatever reason, come on, you explain it to me, I don't know. For whatever reason, as they get wetter, you have to bring the angle of incidence down or they just don't bounce. But they bounce beautifully. And then we come to the final part of all of this. Why do we even care if arrows bounce? Neat trick, great, looks pretty. So what? Well, it's genius. It is absolute genius. Because a target that is flat on a lake or on the ground is difficult to hit. You know, a small target, it's hard to hit like that. It's just, all you archers out there will know it. But if you have a flock of birds, one individual bird might be quite difficult to hit. But as you saw with the ducks there, the arrows might bounce over, they might go between. But the thing is, if you've got 50 birds out there, it's going to strike something or stands a really good chance of striking something. So the fact that it just keeps on going and skimming across the water just massively, massively magnifies the chance of striking something. And that, if you're a subsistence hunter, is just a dream come true. So the people who invented this, whoever, whenever, presumably a long time ago, were just so clever, so clever. But the thing that I couldn't show you was the forked tips hitting vegetation. I really wanted to do that, and stupidly I should have tested that first. But it turns out rubber ducks are a much harder target than I was expecting, and all of my arrow tips got broken on the ducks. So I couldn't show you that, but take my word for it that when a forked tip strikes on vegetation like that, it comes to a very rapid stop. Now, just as a little addendum to this film, 2 years ago I did a film about medieval arrowheads, and one of the ones I was discussing were these forked heads like this one. Now, at the time, I didn't know what they were for. I'd heard sort of rumours that they were for birding and so on, but there was nothing really conclusive. But I think we can now absolutely say, as far as I'm concerned, that these are for birds. But what is also interesting is I think they're exactly the same as these. That birds live in bushes, on the ground, in grass and so on. You shoot at them, yeah, you're going to hit the bird with this and it's going to damage it, but the arrow doesn't travel that far and you stand a really good chance of recovering it. And I suspect that more than any other function, the curved nature of these heads is exactly for that. It just helps to stop you losing your arrows, but small game, it's still enough to beat the hell out of it and kill it, basically. Anyway, thank you very much. Bouncing arrows, absolutely love them. Go and make them, go and mess about with them. They are brilliant. Thank you.